Squirrels! So hello, and welcome to another Legends of Runeterra video, and this one will be the first ever Gauntlet video on this channel. My name is Chris, by the way, and we are taking the Gauntlet challenge with my Shen+Fiora value challenger deck. It's probably my favorite deck to play right now, and I think it's pretty good to say the least. And I basically want to make this video just to show off gauntlets, what they are. I'm sure many of you have seen at this point. You can see I'm already one win in to this run that I did yesterday, but I thought I'd continue today and see how we do. A couple next games, hopefully, you know, about 3 games. We'll see how we do. And yeah, I'm probably gonna do every week's gauntlet at least once. Probably one video a week, whenever that is, maybe on when it comes out or the day after it comes out. And yeah, I'll try and make a competitive and maybe, you know, one that people aren't playing as much. We know the next one's Singleton, we don't know after that. And obviously I imagine everyone's going to be running a lot of the big old cat in Singleton, so I'll probably try and do something a bit different. But yeah, this is the deck we are playing today, and we're going to take it into this gauntlet and see what we can do with it. So let's dive straight in. So the point of our deck is, of course, as a value deck, we try and control the board, win exchanges, as it looks like we're playing against an Undying Demacia deck. Anytime you see Shadow Wilds with no champions, I somewhat assume it's Undying, as that tends to be the case. So looking at this hand, against the Undying, we often will want quite an aggressive curve, actually, because obviously they'll be focused on getting their Undying out and then doing a bunch of things, as he gives me a Tryndamere remote. And obviously the Undying decks, you know, could sometimes high roll you with, you know, ethereal remitters and the like, and there's not much you can do about them. But in other times they can, you know, flounder about, and if they don't get the Undying, they could sometimes struggle to find maximum value. As we see Butcher into Warden's Prey, I'm happy to let that go. Got a Hapless with it, that's pretty good for him. But again, we can let that go. Because our Protege obviously trades very well into the Butcher, so there's no real need to do that. The difference between 2 and 3 against Shadow Wilds is pretty minimal, so therefore I feel pretty confident in taking that block. Now we've got a couple lines we could use here. Obviously we could go into Protege, we could go Fleet Feather into either second War Chefs or Green Glade. I think that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to open with this Fleet Feather. He might go in for a Val Feast, in which case we've got the single combat. Okay, so this is what he wanted to drop, the Vanguard Redeemer. Now that we know there's no Val Feast, we can go in for the War Chefs pretty safely and end the turn there. Now with the War Chefs here, we probably will want to be dropping the Lauren Protege. As I mentioned, now this can trade pretty well into the Vanguard Redeemer, and we've got the Fleet Feather to trade into the Butcher. Or now it can even trade into you. So what we will do is something like Chefs, Protege, probably kill you so that he can't do that again. And then Chefs, you, kill you. I think that's probably how we're gonna do this. This means that, you know, obviously he'll probably trade Butcher into Chefs maybe, but then okay, yeah, trade into that one. Okay, he trades the entire board down, which means we'll end up with a Lauren Protege. Still more mana. Does have a slight card advantage on us after the double Redeemer. But as I said, this is about controlling the board for the most part, and that's what we're trying to do. I'll end the round there. Keep up our spell mana. Swiftwing, pretty nice. Just another Warden's Prey. I think this time we probably want to drop Shen, so I'm just going to play it a bit cautiously at first. Because I want to go wide for the dropping of Genevieve next turn. So he's obviously looking for me to kill that, possibly for another Vanguard Redeemer. So we'll definitely let that one through and go into Shen. Now, as I mentioned, being on 2 health is pretty good as a whole. So he just goes for the Glimpse, and that's something that we will obviously deal with. We could probably do it with Shen. The difference between 5 and 4 is again pretty limited, and it will be getting buffed up anyway by Genevieve. That's not something we want to allow though. The draw 2 is probably a bit rich for us. And doing it on Shen means that he has pretty much no way to deal with. Now we're looking potentially at a Ruination though. And the pass there said to me, I've got Ruination, so I am just going to open attack. Get in a bunch of damage. This was actually a mistake. I should have buffed up the Shen perhaps to get its health back up. But yeah, we aren't going to do anything too early there, because now if he wants to Ruinate, obviously we've got in our big damage, and he's going to have to tap out. If he offers me a pass, I will take the pass. We pretty much know he's got Ruination at that point, and that pass was absolutely monumental for us. He just wasted a whole lot of progress there, because now if he wants to Ruinate me, see, is that even a problem? Do I care about that in any way? He can't Ruinate me now, so we're pretty free to develop, but it's what do you develop? And I think it's probably a Swiftwing Lancer. Because even if this does die, it does give us some potential there. And now that he's below Ruination, I feel, you know, pretty confident. We're not going to kill this. We're going to make him kill it. And next turn, say if he ended the round right now, we'd be looking at quite a bit of damage. He does just go for the Chronicler of Ruin. That's absolutely fine, obviously. And he tosses away 2 Undyings. So we know the chances of him having Undying are fairly unlikely. And that's obviously a big part of his deck. Again, though, we're looking at Ruination, so we don't want that to happen to us. So this time we will be... Do I trade these? I guess I will trade you. I guess. And I will also do that. I made a pretty big mistake with this, didn't I? I didn't buff that up. We've got Shen's Barrier, which is also pretty nice. But yeah, let's kill his things. Again, we're not playing into Ruination. If he goes for Grasp anywhere, and you look at us now, we're pretty Grasp free, because he's going to want to, like, this is not a great Grasp target either. Just goes for the kill. Is it worth me using Shen Stand United to go you there and you over there? That would make you go up to 7, 12. That would be lethal. He'd need specifically what? I mean, Grasp would still save him. But it is a pretty strong play. So I am going to do it. The fact it gives him Barrier as well is pretty important. Like, Vengeance is one, but I'm forcing him to have Vengeance in his hand now. He can't use the draw cards that he's got. He can use Grasp and stuff like that. Absorb Soul, so wow, so he's really gone all in, and that's going to save him just about. But yeah, he's in a pretty bad state as of right now. God, that misplay cost me the game on that attack. That was just so lazy. I am pretty tired. But he can't Ruinate me now either, and I'm happy to pass the round at this point, of course. But we've got so much pressure on him right now. That really, I mean, this can even block against a Radiant Guardian as well. So yeah, it's looking pretty good from my perspective. As I say, we're happy to end the round. We're in such a dominant position that we can afford to just play it safe, wait for him to do something. If he Ruinates now, obviously with what we've got in hand, it's pretty likely that we can, you know, see this game through. Okay, we only got Cithri of Cloudfield. So what's the play here? Let's go for... Fleet Feather isn't the best. Does he run 2 Ruinations? I'd be somewhat surprised. Fleet Feather's not the best because it can get Vile Feasted. Okay, he just goes Scribe. That's absolutely fine. So now we are free to develop. So we've got 8 mana left, so that's 8. Our question is going to be... And this is a crucial question. Do we play you? Does he have second Ruination? Because here's the thing. Second Ruination obviously pretty much wins him the game. And so we need to look at what answers we might have if we... so let's say he's on Grasp. He's going to Grasp you. He wins. Grasp, if he wails, and I drag with the Fleet Feather, he will 5, 7. Wail is a lose. Grasp is a win though. With Genevieve, Ruination is the only win. He's on 18 cards. He's played 1 Ruination.
I long for a worthy opponent.
Oh my god, this is so tough. But I'm pretty sure that developing is the correct answer. He's playing Absorb Soul. Oh, Ruination, second Ruination. It's more likely he's got a Grasp. It's more likely he's got a Grasp. Come on. No. Okay. Purify. So no Ruination. Yeah. Let's go. Yes. Woo! That one was pretty sticky. But we got there. We got there. Sometimes that's a really tough choice to make. Start drafting my deck. What? Okay, we'll go into another. Oh, that was a tough one. Okay, Mono Demacia, Bannerman Demacia. This one's kind of it's kind of iffy. You know, if we can make the favorable trades, then we're pretty good. If they make the favorable trades, then you know we're pretty bad. They're probably not going to put us under too much pressure. He's playing Lucian, so you know there is going to be some pressure involved. But I don't feel under. It's not an aggro deck, right? It's still a mid-range deck, I would have thought. And okay, with this draw, I feel confident that we can play this because you're still going to be worried that he might go Fleet Feather into his own Bright Steel as well, which is kind of like worst case scenario. Something that you definitely don't want. He does just go Lucian. We can stop that early aggression pretty well. Just to end the round. We'll probably open attack. If he plays Senna, obviously it's pretty bad for us, and we'd rather try and kill Lucian now. You know, he's probably got, yeah, Range Resolve or something like that. But this is fine, because Range Resolve is going to be crucial in this matchup, and he would much rather use it at a time when, you know, we're trading a bunch of units, rather than just trading the odd unit. So he doesn't have Fiora in hand, and that's pretty helpful as well. We can go for the Protege now, I feel fine with that. As it's still a good blocker for Lucian. And, you know, if he does open attack with Lucian, then we know... okay, or Bannerman. Bannerman's certainly interesting. It's not great for us, of course. But we've still got a good trade on these two. We can tank the Lucian hit, I think. We could even play Shen, and, you know, likelihood is he doesn't have much to counter something like Shen. So, Radiant Strike would be the only one. If you're running Ranger's Resolve, are you really running Radiant Strike as well? I would probably say no, and this tells us that he's not, because, you know, he fears that block. and that's fine. I quite like the open attack because of the riposte that we can get from it. And we can obviously kill you, and that's fine. And everything right now is kind of trading in our favor. The only way he's surviving this, of course, is with tricks. Purify. I mean, that still trades with that, because obviously it's still blocking. So those are all trades that I'm pretty fond of, I won't lie. And keeping the board open against Bannerman is always good for us. This is a fine trade for us. This is a pretty good trade for us. I feel pretty happy with our developments here as well. Second Lucian, absolutely fine as well. So we can probably, at this point, afford to drop Lawrence Chevalier. You know, we aren't scared of anything like single combat, because of course it kills his Lucian anyway, so... Hey, what's the deal? Now, something like Garen could be somewhat scary. Cytherea the Bold, certainly interesting. We could probably drop... I mean, we could drop either, to be fair. So let's drop... Let's drop Fiora. Still with 4 mana open, it'd be interesting to see if he does attack. He does. Which one would we prefer to block with? Would we prefer to block with Fiora and deal with the Cytherea, or would we rather get the extra unit in Lawrence Chevalier? I highly kind of doubt that we'll be able to get enough kills with Fiora, so I am going to go for the Chevalier instead. So I think that's a slightly better option. Now we could have single combat. As I said, that's kind of what I was, you know, somewhat worried about, but that's fine. As I say, Fiora was never really going to do too much, I don't think. Genevieve, amazing. Amazing value from this Chevalier already. And with the challenges down, you know, we can somewhat afford potentially to develop here. Does he have bigger units than us? Would be the only question, of course. And the answer is potentially yes. So I'd probably rather play it safe. I think we can afford to play somewhat slow. Again, we're getting good trades off this. We're getting extra units. If he has drawn a center at some point, this can be quite good if we're ever under too much of a threat. But right now it doesn't seem to be the case. So we can just start dropping these war chefs, I think. And next turn, if he develops heavy, then we can obviously just Will of Ionia. Deal with this pretty well. Shen is up to 3, so we can level up Shen now. So let us do that, but we'll give the barrier to, again, our protege, which now can block that center. Play Swiftwing. We'll get rid of... what will we get rid of? Do we get rid of the Swiftwing? Yeah, maybe. Yeah, let's get rid of the Swiftwing. And surrender. Yeah. That's the deck. I mean, this plays out quite a lot. That you just make better trades than them, you win the game. It's quite a simple process, really. Bannerman apparently a popular choice within this game mode. I wonder if, you know, a lot of players who perhaps don't have all the cards would play in this. I do like Will of Ionia in this kind of thing, particularly against the sort of Fiora version. Bright Steel is pretty nice. Ranger's Resolve is also pretty good though, so it's like, what do you drop? I guess we'll just drop the Will of Ionia. I quite like both those spells, to be honest. We find our own Fiora. Again, we're normally the slower playing deck. War Chefs is a good draw as well. Unless he drops his own War Chefs, but then, you know, we do have Range Resolve. It's like, it's a bit 50-50. We'll see. Does drop his own War Chefs. So what we'll do is drop the Fleet Feather instead, because it means that if he does go for the buff and the attack, obviously, we're trading completely even. Which is fine. Yeah, you could argue that he's on a bit of a head start, so maybe that's slightly in favor of him. Now we've got the choice, you know, a pretty interesting choice here. Do we go Fleet Feather War Chefs? Kill this. You could have Fiora. I mean, I think that's probably for the best. he just drops something like Fiora, you know, we can kill it. He goes for Bright Steel instead. That's kind of the one that we're not as happy to see. But with that drop, that means that we can do this. Make a favorable trade again in our advantage. And that was essentially because we had so many options that we were winning either way. And we got much more use out of our Bright Steel than he did of his, so we're pretty happy as well with that. And now that we've kept the board shallow, if he is on Bannerman, you know, we're doing alright right now. So I think now's a pretty good time to drop a Fiora. And he is happy to end the round. Now we have an interesting choice, because if he does drop Bannerman, we are in some trouble. And for that reason, I'd probably rather clear out the War Chefs, to be honest, and just deal with it. As I say, we can probably afford to slow play more than he can. If he goes in for repost here or anything like that, then again, that's fine. That's kind of a large commitment. We got the single combat there for that one, if we need it. Or he'll just let it die, and that's fine with us as well. Now obviously he could be on Garen into Cythria. That's, you know, a common line. So we can just go with Chevalier there. Very nice draw here with the Bright Steel. Means that if he does drop something that I don't particularly like, that we can deal with these things. And as I say, Fiora probably isn't getting the win for us here. Highly unlikely. What's much more likely is that ooh, that's interesting. Let's pass for now. Obviously, we've got a very good block with this. So that's what he chooses to take. I find that somewhat interesting as well. I'm fine with that block, I think. Just lets that go through. Again, that's fine with me. Get Silverwing Vanguard, obviously not the one we were looking for with Garen down on the board, but it can kill this pretty well. So we got a choice here. Maybe the Silverwings are doing the most, in all honesty. That might have been a mistake though. If he goes for single combat on something with Garen, we can go single combat with something else. Kill the Garen. So maybe maybe it's fine. But this is what he's gonna do. Yeah, as I said. Now that will level up the Garen. This is very important. Our single combat's gonna level up the Garen, so I can't pick one of these Silverwing Vanguards. I have to pick one of you. Yeah, I think that's correct. So his Garen will level up, but then it will die. And that's very, very important that we did that the way we did. Now next turn, again, we'll probably be open attacking. That probably was a mistake to drop these. We probably should have kept Will of Ionia up. Of course, that is a prime time to use it. I mean, it's so tough not to go for Swiftwing at this point, because he's just such a good killer. And if he does drop something like second Garen, then, you know, we've got War Chefs to deal with that. And that's pretty important as well. And, you know, you have to sort of hope against hope that he doesn't have, you know, the one card, the Ranger's Resolve, which he does not. And thankfully we do. So that's a pretty big win for us, I would say, overall there. pretty monumental win. So yeah, this dies. Garen dies. We get Bannerman, and we are running quite a lot of Demacia cards, by the way. So Bannerman will hit quite a lot. Wait, did we get? Was that? Oh no, that was from Swiftwing. What am I thinking about? So it's, do we develop more and more here? I think we do. I think we just develop as much as we can and get the most out of this Bannerman that we can. So he got this Swiftwing Vanguard. I think now we go for it. And we get the buff. Which pretty much is game over, I'd say at this point. Looking at the board. Yeah, he can take those two, but obviously those are our worst units. And next turn we can take, obviously, pretty much whatever we want. Like, again, it's all about the trades. And Lawrence Chevalier is a card that I think people have slept on for a long, long time. Ever since it got buffed. I think it is really... It wins us this game. It wins you so many of these mid-range games. And we'll just go something like so. Kill Fiora with the protege. Go in heavy here. And win the game. This game is easy. Easy! So yeah, that's probably where I'm going to end this one, on three wins, as you saw there. And this deck, I think, is really, really quite strong. We added one denying as well, and I just think that this deck, it's got so much. It's just got so much. When you make trades like this deck does, you're always in for a pretty good time. So thank you for watching. My name has been Chris. Have a really nice day.